Does the bishop feel like they fail if there are a group of people that want to leave the community to create their own community? I would think it would mean that they were unhappy with how things were run if they wanted to start their own. So the rules are not really how things are run. The rules are pre-existing, and the way things are run, that just means officiating the church. All the bishop does is he is the head of the church. He officiates the official church matters. And that does not include changing the rules normally. Except for, like, the pre-existing rules were all in place before my bishop took control of the church, so to speak, before he was ordained. And he did not go around changing the rules as he saw fit once he was elected. The rules stayed exactly the same, with the exception of, obviously, when cell phones were invented. They weren't always a thing. Then all the bishops and all the preachers get together and they have a conference on it and they decide, what they should do. So the things that were already in existence, that was decided upon, years ago. I remember when phone cards became a thing, because we had to use the neighbors' phones. At one point, we did not have phone shacks in our community. We had to go use an English neighbor's phone. And it was sometimes hard to keep track of how much we owed the neighbor for the phone bill. And sometimes they wanted to charge you exorbitant amounts to use their phone, which, what were we to say? We can't have our own phone, so they kind of, control what they wanted us to pay for it. So they came out with phone cards, and you would take a number and dial it in before you dialed your number, and then you would get phone calls for like 11 cents a minute or something. It's a lot cheaper than what the phone companies were charging at the time. Well, everything was okay. Everybody was using the phone cards for a minute. And then they got to talking about it, and they were like, we can't use the phone cards here anymore. But it wasn't even the bishop who decided that. It was two older gentlemen in our community, Apple Dan and Elmer Yoder. Those two old men, they decided that they don't like these phone cards. So they actually went to the bishops and complained about people using phone cards. And they were like, we don't like this. And the bishop would have let it go, but then the bishop had no choice. And then he took it to a council of bishops. And at that time, there was like 7 bishops, and would have been 7 bishops, 14, mid-deal preachers, and 7 deacons. And they had a conference, and they voted on it. They decided, okay, we're going to forbid the use of phone cards because some of the old-timers don't like it. So that's how a new rule comes into existence with new technology. There were no rules pertaining to the phone cards, but now after these people complained, now there were rules. So that's actually the difference between making rules and pre-existing rules. They only make rules when it's new stuff that they have to talk about. God bless you all. Stay safe. Much love.